Welcome to a very special episode of Always Blue. I'm your host, Tim Rahilly, president of Mount Royal University, and today I'm joined by two fabulous people, my colleagues, Chad London, vice president academic and provost, and Melanie Rogers, vice president community engagement.
That's right.
Is that what it is? I know we changed it. Today's episode is a bit special because I wanted to invite you both here to have a conversation a little bit about the past, but mostly about the future of Mount Royal University. And, you know, since becoming president of MRU back in 2019, I've seen a lot of dynamic changes, and I'm also excited as we look ahead. So you were both here. You've both been here much longer than I have been. So when you think about when Mount Royal became a university back in 2009, I suppose the announcement was made. What kind of changes have you seen?
No, it was a really exciting time for us when we'd been working towards that for such a long time to become a true university, to embrace our future and where we were headed. And I just remember there being a something that you could really feel in the air. It's like we had finally achieved a goal that we'd set out for a really long time. Our external community was really interested in us becoming a university, and the internal community was thrilled to finally achieve it.
Wow. And then Chad, you know, when I reflect on this time, and I actually heard some of this, you know, in another city, I heard some of that excitement kind of about what was happening. But a lot of change in academic programs too.
It was kind of from top to bottom, and from one side to the other, everything changed. But we were building over a long period of time towards the change.
Right.
You know, in Mount Royal College, starting in 1910, in a way, we were on a long road that came together really quickly in the early 2000s.
Right.
And then we became a university in 2009. But really, and we talked about this a lot at the time, we have been preparing for years and decades in leading up to that, including with our academic programming, building the kind of academic climate and culture that would make us successful as a university.
But a real shift from 2-year diplomas, applied degrees to what we have today. And we've added a lot of majors and programs. That maybe you could just say a little bit about, like, of note in your mind, like what are the major ones that have been added kind of since 2009?
Sure. And you're right. We started looking at every program and where it fit as we became Mount Royal University. So each diploma program, each university transfer program, and otherwise was being reviewed to determine whether it could become a degree and what type of degree. And so, you know, starting with the Bachelor of Nursing and Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Business Administration, and we grew from there. You know, early days, a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice, Bachelor of Interior Design, and the more recent additions, Bachelor of Science in Data Science, and our Bachelor of Aviation Management programs we've added in the last couple of years. So, but really built on the evolution, because in the aviation space, we've had a diploma in aviation for 55 years. So in many ways, it's really felt like a natural evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you were at one point the Dean of Health, Community, and Education. And that faculty in particular has seen a lot of innovation.
Yes. And when I was in the dean's office, we added a degree that was new to Mount Royal and new to the province at the time, and that was the Bachelor of Midwifery. And so the launch of that program was a great win for the province, for health, for families and mothers to be in Alberta, because it was and still is the only midwifery program in Alberta. And so just a lot of change and a lot of energy around new program development and a lot of growth. I mean, I did start at Mount Royal back in the 1900s. It was 1996.
Around
there were
the
about
turn of the century.
3,000 students. 3,000 students. I started here teaching in a diploma program, but within a year I was developing a new proposal for an applied degree.
Right.
And then it just evolved
So
from there.
3,000 students then to 16,000 students now.
Yes.
Wow, you must be old.
Clearly. Yes.
Oh, no, you look great. But, you know, I think as I think about that trajectory, especially in that space, I'm thinking about kind of what we can do to serve Albertans going forward. And so we've been chatting a lot about this notion of a health science and innovation building. And it seems to me, where I'm coming in with my 7 years under my belt, that seems like a natural trajectory. Does that make sense to you?
It does, and it's especially fitting since nursing was our first degree ever, and our first bachelor's degree ever, and that we actually launched the Bachelor of Nursing before we became a university, so it goes back that far. And just being able to look at what is happening in our province, what our students require, what the health and science fields require, and how they rely on Mount Royal University so significantly to produce the kinds of grads that are needed in these professional settings. It is perfect timing to be able to launch a plan for a new building so that we can serve even more students.
Well, it's amazing to me as I kind of go around Calgary, right? Even going back a couple of years when we had, large-scale inoculation programs and what have you, like the number of Mount Royal graduates that I encountered.
Yes.
I mean, I hear a lot about midwifery because it is such a specialized program, and I think it has had an impact in particular areas. Nursing for sure, and I often hear how great our nurses are and how work ready they are. And of course, I think people tell me this because I'm the president of Mount Royal University, but as you know, my partner works in the healthcare world as well. So I do hear that. And I'm actually amazed at how many doctors have gone through Mount Royal, went through Mount Royal College, but also Mount Royal University, as I encounter, even though we don't have a medical, an MD program, there's certainly a lot who have gone that way. And I certainly hear a lot about that in some of those other programs too, including social work, which is one of our newer degrees as well, even though, like aviation, we had the diploma for a long time. So as we think about this long-range development in this area, like what's going on, Chad, in terms of some of this planning?
Well, this conversation is making me nostalgic because it's taking me back to the days of how the plans have evolved over time and how we've grown. And it's really been it's transformational, but also incremental. We've never stopped changing.
Right.
And Mount Royal from the beginning has been focused on meeting community need and being ready and poised to do that. And that continues. So we know there's great need these days in the health space, demand for workforce, demand for well-prepared, well-educated health professionals, and also demand in other areas. And so as we look forward, we're looking at a new major capital project, a new building, Health Science and Innovation Center, to meet that need, to be able to grow the enrollment and graduate more professionals, graduate more students. And we're looking at the intersection of health with science as well. So there's need in both of those areas. And I don't know if you want to get into talking about AI today and these kinds of things, but the intersection of health and data, it really is the future.
Sure.
New major capital projects not only help us add students in our existing programs, but in time they'll help us add new programming that we maybe hadn't even contemplated yet, but we know is going to be needed in the years to come.
Well, for sure. I can't go anywhere without someone talking to me about AI. And I wish I had an answer, but I don't believe anyone actually has a pat answer that they can give us about, what that will bring. But in terms of as we think about innovation, like what are some of the thoughts around innovation in that health space?
A great example is a new degree offering that we are working on with the University of Waterloo in optometry.
Right.
So we have signed a partnership, collaboration with the University of Waterloo, and to explore the feasibility of developing and offering an optometry program here at Mount Royal. It would be the only optometry program in Western Canada. And so Waterloo's been fantastic partners, and I think they've seen our ability to launch new programs previously, and in our conversations, this is one of the reasons why they're working with us on this and us with them. And so while it's early days and we're looking at the feasibility of that, it's that type of a program that would find its way into a health, science, and innovation center.
Right.
And we'll need new space to launch a program like that. And we'll need, 21st century space where we are combining the best of science with health for a program like optometry. So there's one example of an opportunity that's right on the cusp of.
And Melanie, in terms of, introduction of new programs and trying to convince funders and donors about the importance of this, what kind of things go through your head about what Mount Royal needs to do to kind of get ready for this?
It's really about demonstrating the innovation, like you said, of the programming that we're offering, and that we're not sitting idle just doing more of the same. We're exploring the fact that we're exploring optometry, the fact that we're recognizing the need for more healthcare professionals in the sector really demonstrates that we are paying attention to what's going on out in the broader community. Something that I've really noticed is that things that all funders are interested in are common. So all funders, whether they be prospective donors, whether they be government, they need to know that we're being responsive and transformational in what the province requires. And so for us, when we are making the case for our Health Science and Innovation Centre, and we are looking at gems like optometry, which would be an incredible, it would be a diamond for us to be able to introduce that. What we're able to demonstrate is a history of being able to produce really incredible programming, produce the kinds of grads that everyone's looking for, but then at the same time, always looking on the horizon to what's coming next and what we're going to need to be producing. And this facility will be able to do that for us, and it will be of interest to both our government and to donors alike.
Absolutely. Well, I recently, I think a few of us have been in conversations, and comments have been made about how much the Riddell Library and Learning Center really transformed our campus. That people have commented, maybe even it was you, Chad, or you, Melanie, I can't recall, but that building really made the university, that it was a physical and psychological change to have a building of that size and magnitude on our campus where people gathered. It was a little different than the Mount Royal College days. Is that what you envision, either of you, for this building?
Yeah, this new building is going to provide an opportunity for different disciplines and different professions to really study, learn, and work together in labs, in classrooms, and in practice-based settings. And so, intersecting health and science and innovation is going to really be the superpower of this building, because, right now we're in some dated spaces, we're in different parts of the university campus, and bringing people together to work on problems and to work on topics together is really going to be the opportunity here. So it's very much going to be a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, interprofessional type of space. And we know that we can't kind of solve the problems and prepare professionals in silos, that we need to be attacking and looking at questions in different ways from different angles. And so that's one of the opportunities in this new building. And, the other big opportunity that I didn't mention is we've just approved a new School of Computing and Mathematical Sciences. It's an area that's undertaken huge growth in the last 4 years. And our Bachelor of Science and Computer Science program has grown. Bachelor of Computer Information Systems grown. Of course, we launched data science as well. And so they need room to grow. And this building will provide that.
I'm struck as you were saying that, Chad, in our earlier conversation, we were talking about AI. So it sounds like, as we think about an ambitious future where we have, AI and, we, of course, do communicate a lot with each other electronically, but bringing people together, not in an old-fashioned way, but in a collaborative way and in a community way, is kind of part of our brand in a way, right? Like we're kind of, I think people at Mount Royal talk about our community, but it's an academic community, right?
We are a community, we're an academic community, and we bring community in. So
Right.
when we think about all of our buildings that we have built just in the time that Chad and I can remember, between the Taylor Center for Performing Arts, that is meant to bring community in. The Riddell Library Learning Center brings community in, and we'll be able to extend that with our new Health and Science Innovation Center by just ensuring that we're part of something bigger. We are a close-knit academic community between our faculty and our students, but we are also very integrated into what community needs outside of our walls, and that is, like you say, it's part of our brand.
I mean, I can't go anywhere in Calgary without meeting people who are alumni or the children of alumni or the grandchildren of alumni or took piano lessons here at the conservatory or something like that. So when we think about this Health Science and Innovation Center, have there been thoughts about how this could enhance community engagement?
Many, many thoughts. And I think one of the big opportunities here is to have a practice-based teaching clinic. And so to be able to deliver health service, for example, in a building with community partners for our Mount Royal community and the external community is an opportunity that we're exploring here. And it can be a common practice because you can be serving the community while students are learning alongside faculty and alongside practitioners. So in the health space, this is certainly one of the opportunities. And then on science and technology, one of the ways that we really engage with industry and with community is on the research side.
Right.
And so community engaged research alongside our community partners and researchers that are outside these walls that have questions that they need help with. And that's where we come in and we explore those questions together.
And that could be a broad range. That could be population health and an intersection of maybe AI. I guess it could be a one-stop shop. I could go have a baby and get my eyes checked. Nothing too big, too small for us.
Not on the same day.
Not on the same day. Yeah, probably not a good idea. But if you wanted to.
You could. That's right. You could.
That's good. And see a social worker.
Yes. Yeah.
You might need to.
Yes. Yeah. The aftermath, maybe. Yes.
Wow. Well, that's pretty exciting. And, I think it's really important that we remain ambitious for Mount Royal University, but also ambitious for the province, right? Because I think a big part of our ethos is service. And so there's a lot of possibility here.
Well, you mentioned alumni before, and I think the most incredible thing about what Mount Royal does is we're so interested in the success of our alumni and keeping our alumni connected to the work that we're doing. And so I personally believe that it's our obligation to continue to innovate and continue to be part of communities so that we are demonstrating to our alumni that we are continually changing and growing and improving all the time. And that's something that we're not letting our alumni down because we're keeping this place growing and improving every single year.
For sure. I'm really cognizant of the fact that we recruit a lot of people from the Calgary area, and our statistics show that they stay here, they contribute. I recently wrote an op-ed about this.
That's right.
In terms of, Mount Royal having been around for more than 100 years and planning on being around for more than 100 more in these volatile times. I think it's important to think about that long range aspect of this. So Chad, you mentioned research a bit. But of course, undergraduate research experience. Can you say a little bit about how this Health Science Innovation Center might help us make some inroads and expand our undergraduate research?
We've always had students involved in the research that we undertake here. And it's an opportunity that undergraduate students don't always get at universities to be able to be in lab with their professors and undertaking experiments and participating in research. That often happens at the graduate level more so than at the undergraduate level. But at Mount Royal, we've always been doing that. This will add capacity. We have undergraduate research assistantships that we continue to grow each year incrementally as our faculty continue to expand their research programs and get students more involved. And we're supporting that through our Office of Research and Scholarship and Community Engagement, and within each of our faculties as well, to create new undergraduate research programs where students peer-to-peer sometimes. We have undergraduate student research leaders, for example, and these peer-to-peer programs let more students know about the opportunities and how to get involved.
Sure.
And that experiential learning is preparing students to be really successful when they graduate, because those are transferable skills. You don't have to necessarily be working as a researcher to be able to utilize those skills that you developed as an undergraduate research assistant.
Yeah. Well, having had the opportunity to do undergraduate research myself, it really changed the way I think, changed my educational trajectory. So I'm so pleased that we offer that to our students, and not only those students who are in an honors program, or I know that when I was an undergrad, undergrads, it's like, don't touch this equipment. Don't, that's for the big boys and girls. That's for faculty. That's for graduate students. And so it's so nice that we give students these opportunities. So I'm also thinking a little bit about work integrated learning. And of course, our students are out. Our nurses, our social workers, our teachers are out in job sites, hospitals, schools, what have you. Is there a possibility for kind of more on-campus work integrated learning in this kind of space?
Our students are engaged with hundreds and hundreds of different organizations and agencies, dozens and dozens within the university.
Right.
So, you don't have to look very far across campus to see students be able to participate, whether it's a co-op placement or a capstone project that they're working on with one of the offices on campus.
Right.
And sometimes in interdisciplinary teams. Working in one part of the university, but those students are coming from different programs. And so we're continuing to grow that. And in the coming year, we have an initiative, which you know about, to grow that on-campus work integrated learning opportunity program even more.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure these students will be sought after, given the range of skills they have. But, it occurs to me, when we think about some analogous programs like the work we do in aviation, and recognize that that's an industry that is far more than just people who are pilots. That's an industry that is accounting, it's IT, it's HR, it's everything. So as I think about that, and I think about this Health Science Innovation Center, and obviously, the primary interest here is these particular disciplines. That being said, what about that broader opportunity to provide innovation in these spaces? How might it touch students who aren't in those programs?
Well, something like aviation is a good example. So, WestJet, who's one of our partners, and Mount Royal has had a long-standing affiliation connection with WestJet in different ways. Students from our public relations program, our communications program, our business program, and of course our aviation program end up working with an organization like WestJet. Both practicum and in employment going forward. So you can see the intersections. And, I really believe and have seen that our students at Mount Royal, when they graduate, they often get described as work ready or practice ready. And that doesn't mean that they're necessarily only focused on technical skills at all, but they have the kind of thinking skills to communicate, critical thinking, decision making, some of these intangibles that all employers are looking for. Mount Royal graduates are known for those.
Well, and I can't help but think about my own discipline, psychology, and how many people in psychology work in the health sector. And so no doubt opportunities there as well.
I mean, to tie this back to what we're talking about with the new building, we know that we need to meet demand as much as we can. Calgary's growing. The demand for access to post-secondary education is at its highest level. You take a program like nursing, we bring in 215 first-year students each year, and there's 2,200 applicants. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of students wanting to get into these programs that aren't finding their way in. With the new building and the new support to operate that building going forward, we'll be able to increase access. And that's one of the key goals and outcomes that we'll see from the new building.
Right, which we've actually have been increasing seats, thanks to some additional government funding, for which we're grateful. But could do more. That's the
Sure.
promise of this opportunity.
And in order to secure the building, we will want to demonstrate that we're growing. And
Right.
that's what will be the hook for us, that we're bringing in more and we're graduating more. And that these are, as you say, they're the sought after grads, because they've got the work experience, the work integrated learning, they've got the undergraduate research skills, and they're ready to go.
So when we think about this, have I missed any big points around Health Science Innovation Center that, as I'm out talking it up and talking to our friends in government and donors, is there any part of this that I need to be sharpened up on?
I think you're hitting the key points. I mean, it's growth, but growth in new interdisciplinary ways. That being able to combine some of our programming that work together so naturally into one new facility that will it'll change our campus. It'll be transformative. But it being able to increase our innovation in such a significant way with a significant footprint. We're due for a new building. We're due for a new space, and it's really an incredible opportunity. It's cool. I mean, we've been at other places doing nice projects, but being able to come back here and do things that matter a lot to both of us is really important. And having good leadership is critical.
We've got to do these things.
We have to. And if we keep focused and we just keep moving it forward strategically and step by step, this is how things get done, because we can't look back on the last few years and say, oh, if only we'd started earlier. Well, no, we started and we're going.
And from an infrastructure point of view, I think the ability to grow a bit. So what's the growth number in terms of students?
Yeah, we can go from 16,000 to 20,000 and add 4,000 students with this project. That's the vision.
Right.
Yeah. And so, that's significant, 25% growth. But it's so needed. When I am out in the community, people want access and they wish they could get in. They don't always get in. Sometimes they have to leave the province or attend a different institution. They want to be at Mount Royal. And then, who doesn't need help these days with health? And who isn't worried about technology and science? And we need experts.
I'm not getting any younger, Chad.
We're building it for you.
That's right. But no, it's true. And I think actually 20,000 is a nice size.
Yes.
It's when I think about campuses I've been on before, it's not a major difference between 16 and 20. But from an infrastructure point of view, we have the infrastructure to support that, and maybe an argument to be made as well that the infrastructure needs the support of 4,000 additional students so that we can kind of keep things up to date and address some of the legacy spaces that we have, right?
Yeah.
Because this project would entail some significant moves around campus, right?
Yeah, and that's part of the project as well. It's a new building and any legacy spaces that are created so that they can be purposed into what they need to be for Mount Royal going forward. Yeah. And they would be part of that vision to get to 20,000 students.
Right. And of course, the way programs were added, it was kind of organic. So where people are physically located on the campus is not like you took a plain piece of paper and designed a campus that would make sense. We just grew kind of naturally over a period of time.
The legacy space is so key because it's so short-sighted to build a new building and lock up the old space without a plan for what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
And we are transforming some key legacy space right now with our Sam Taylor Student Commons.
Right. It's so exciting.
That's when that opens, it's just going to be so gratifying for all of us. But just the fact that part of the plan for the Health Science Innovation Center is to repurpose what will be vacated is really key.
Well, thank you both so much for chatting with me about this. We're recording this, giving away state secrets. We're recording this on a Monday. So this is a really exciting conversation to start our week. and to sustain us as we continue to advocate for Mount Royal and for Albertans.
That's right.
Thank you both
Thanks,
so much.
Tim.
Yeah, it was fun. Always Blue is produced by Mount Royal University's Office of Alumni Relations and is recorded in person in the Community Podcast Initiative studio. For more information about the Community Podcast Initiative, visit the website, thepodcaststudio.ca.